and then we can start.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're ready.
Coolio. One sec. I'm just gonna turn you up a little bit.
I've never done this before, so you have to coach me through it.
Yeah, there's nothing to it, man. Just pretend you're at the bar or whatever. I've got a beer and stuff, so it's pretty chill and everything. So, but yeah, so pretty much, I just want to know one, introduce yourself, your name, what you do, where you're from, all that stuff, and then pretty much into that, what's your story on how you got to where you are now? So like, did you start the trades as a kid and work your way up, or did you find it later in life? We'll start with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm Sean. I'm in the Toledo area, Northwest Ohio. Um, I have kind of been in the trades, I guess, since I was a kid. My grandpa, I don't know if you know, like the insurance restoration game or like what they call it, or in your area, like if your house
Like what?
catches on fire.
Like flooding
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
yep.
Restoration. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I can remember probably when I was like 5, 6 years old. Like he had been in that like before I was born. I
Mm-hmm.
know like he worked with his dad who was like a full blown like French guy that he had to work for. He grew up in a family of 14 children, as he would always say. So he ended up starting this company at some point, and he would take me like to job sites every now and again when I'd be hanging out with him on the weekends, hand me a hammer and, let me like bash holes in the walls on some of these jobs, or like let me like walk around endlessly on random job sites and
Mm-hmm.
just explore. And I think, I mean, I can remember probably like once I was like 11, 12 years old, like he'd have me over at his house to like, because like he had money, but like being a skateboarder and stuff when I was a kid, my parents didn't really have a lot of money. So it'd be like, I need a new skateboard. And he'd be like, all right, well, you need a new skateboard, then you're going to have to work for it. So I'd always be over there like mowing grass, cleaning gutters, like, and then once I turned like 14, 15, he'd start taking me to job sites and having me like, all right, organize these ceiling tiles, put these ceiling tiles in, do this demolition work. And then I kind of did that all the time up until I graduated high school. And when I graduated high school, I like my senior year of high school, I was like the cool weed guy, So I started like selling weed and whatnot when I was
Yep.
in high school. So I remember like it was literally like this summer after I graduated high school. I spent like the whole year and the whole summer like my dad had kicked me out because I was partying too much, and then my mom kicked me out because I was partying too much. So like
If you don't mind
I
me
ended up,
asking, were your parents divorced? I'm assuming then.
yeah, they got a divorce when I was 14.
Okay. Okay.
And they probably should have got a divorce like much, much earlier. My I got along with my mom really well. My mom was like, I never really knew like her parents or anything because she grew up
Okay.
in a foster home. But my dad, I get along with him now, but I never got along with my dad growing up because I was just like a little skate rat shithead who just was
Yeah.
always out getting in trouble and
Always
everything, you know what
always
I
butting
mean?
heads with him and stuff. I have a
Yep.
good relationship with my dad too. We never really necessarily had a bad one, but yeah, as I started getting older, we were butting heads a lot, and I remember we were arguing and stuff. It was actually because I dropped out of community college. And I remember just saying like, fuck you, fuck it. And I started loading up all my tools out of the garage into my truck. And then I remember driving to my girlfriend's place and staying there for a little bit until it blew over and everything. But yeah, I get the feeling. But yeah,
I
later on
yeah.
in life, now that I'm a dad and stuff, like, yeah, we have a, pretty good relationship.
Yeah, being 33 now, every time I'm with my dad, I'm like, I totally realize why we didn't get along. Like,
Yeah.
I was a fucker.
Yep.
I was just
And
like,
you
because
got one on the way too, man. So watch out, dude. Karma bites you in the
I know,
ass. I'm
I
just
know,
letting
I
you
know.
know.
Especially being a daughter, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get such terrible karma probably.
Dude, I'm telling you, I
I,
have a son and a daughter. Both are great, both are fantastic kids, but my daughter definitely has me in the palm of her hand compared to my son. And so,
oh,
yeah,
I
parenting
know
her
that's
is a
how it's
lot
gonna be.
different.
Because like, and I even have it in my head, especially from how I grew up. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be mean like my dad was. I don't want to be mean like my dad was. So I just know I'm gonna be a fucking pushover. I just know it.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
I'm
so
already
you get kicked out of both your parents' houses. You're partying too much. This is just out of high school. So where does it go from there?
well, I ended up like I live in Bowling Green, Ohio now, and I ended up literally like down the street from where I live now. I ended up living
Oh, don't tell
at
me.
the time, and I remember I was I she had like gone on my Facebook and she had saw that I was messaging some other chick. So like I end up going to go back home and all my shit's on the porch and her roommate's in there like blasting the stereo as loud as she possibly can and like there was still stuff in there that I wanted. So like I'm banging on the door and shit. And I ended up like climbing a fucking telephone or one of those antennas, TV antennas up onto the fucking roof and I'm like banging on the window. I'm like, I need those skate shoes right there. And then my dad ended up coming and picking me up. I ended up staying back with my dad and I was probably there for like 3 months. And one day I'm just going to the gas station one day and the fucking cops pull me over and I'm like, oh fuck, what did I do?
Yeah.
And they pulled me out of the car. They're like, you have 8 warrants in Ottawa County, and I had no idea where the fuck Ottawa County was. It happened to just be like it was Port Clinton, Ohio, which is like kind of near Cedar Point. And then all of a sudden I'm in a sheriff car and they're fucking driving me 45 minutes away, and I ended up going to jail for a week. And so when
For
I got
breaking
out
and
of
entering.
no for selling weed,
Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
they had
Well,
that
dude, I'm
whole
a
summer
California
before.
boy. It was illegal here and shit. I sold weed when I was in high school and stuff, and
Yeah.
even like Vicodin and shit. But dude, like you'd get caught with weed and everything, and they just have you stomp it out. Like they did not give a fuck
Oh,
here in
dude,
California. But I
it's
know back east, it's a completely different story.
in
Like when I went to
Ohio.
Texas, they're like all over it.
Yeah, we have like it's like the small town mentality here. Like
Yeah,
every town in Ohio is a small town unless it's Toledo, Columbus, or Cleveland
yeah,
or Cincinnati, Dayton. But I lived in a little town called Rossford, so it was like my entire life, every cop knew me. I was always in trouble
yeah.
for something. A lot of it was unwarranted, like skateboarding places I wasn't supposed to, but I had a reputation. So they uh they just pulled me over one day and the cops in Ottawa County had been basically watching me sell weed to people for the entire summer prior. So they built a case and then just picked me up on it one day.
Wow.
So I ended up going to jail for that for a week. I got out. I tried to go work at a factory for I don't know if you've ever heard of Calphalon, the pan company, but
No,
I had
what do they make?
they make pans like nonstick
Oh,
pans and
okay,
shit.
okay, cookware and shit.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so like my job at that factory was literally putting pans in a box all fucking day long.
yeah.
And I just remember like hearing the stories from everybody there, like, yep, been here for fucking 20 years and fucking never give me a raise and all that shit. You know, you're just kind of in the back of your head, like, oh, that'll never be me. But I was there through a temp agency and I think I was like on the cusp of probably ending up being those people. But one day they called me and they were just like, yeah, we don't need you anymore. And then my grandpa was like, "Oh, you just got fired. Well, come work at my company."
Uh-huh.
So I was almost 19 or had just turned 19 and ended up going and doing like the laboring there, like tearing up carpet, fucking scraping soot off of fucking rafters and just the nastiest like shit and piss covered carpet, burned up houses, insulation all the time. Like we'd have to go up in attics and take this giant vacuum and suck all of the blown in insulation out of an
Yep.
attic space. Or you'd have to like if a house caught on fire, you'd literally have to clean the fucking the smallest crevices in a window and like the drawers inside of a kitchen cabinet, like all kinds of stuff. And it was all emergency work. So you could work in from 8 to 4:30 be about to leave, they would get a call, then you'd have to work until midnight or 2 in the morning all of a sudden. And I did that for
Which is fine if you're
probably,
like down for stacking overtime and like stuff
yeah,
like that, but it gets to
I
you, man.
think
I know.
I think I was making 10.50 an hour, and this was like 2011, so it wasn't terrible money, I guess. But I mean, I ended up like my grandpa had convinced me, which oddly enough, like even though my grandfather was in construction, he wasn't on the tools for a very long time at this point. Like they had a very, very prosperous company. So he had
Uh-huh.
everybody, like an accountant, a secretary, like the whole nine, you know what I mean? And he would always tell me like, oh, you don't want to do construction, this will never make you any money. So he kind of pushed me towards, like you said, a community college, right? It's like, oh, so you probably want to be a nurse. So I started going to community college to be a nurse. And then I'm like, well, I don't really want to be a fucking nurse. So I'm like, well, I'll be like an x-ray tech. And then I started, like, I was sitting in anatomy one day. I'm like, wait, I'm going to have to fucking literally see like compound fractures and bones sticking out of people's legs and like just people in pure misery every day of my life. I don't think I want to do that either. So then I decided that I'm going to just go to school for photography. And I kind of did that for the next like almost 2 years, and I almost had like my associates. And then I just up and stopped going to school and just started working instead
Yeah.
of going to school. And I kind of like got away from construction for a while. I was fucking delivering pizzas for probably like until I was like 24,
Okay.
maybe. And then I started flipping houses with my grandpa. So I ended up like gutting a whole house for him, doing all that thing, learned to paint and all that kind of shit. Did two houses with him, and then he ended up finding through the company, a buddy of his owned a bunch of investment properties over in a different part of town, and one of them caught on fire. So my grandpa had like figured out a way with the insurance company to get him paid out for it, and I ended up buying this house for $1. And I fixed it all up, like contracted the people to come put the cabinets in and the carpet guys and all that shit. And I ended up making like 15 grand off of it. I was like,
Nice.
oh yeah, I'm riding high, right? But shortly
I know when you make
thereafter,
your first 10 or 20 grand as a young kid, you think, dude, I'm never gonna have to work again. You're like, dude, I'm in
literally,
the money. And then you realize, like, as you get older, like, shit, dude, I'll spend 10 grand in a fucking day now. It's like it
yeah,
is
it's
what it
like
is, dude.
it's so easy to fucking to just waste all of your money. And when you're young, yeah, you think you know everything.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure after that I was still just fucking, I was delivering pizza still while I was flipping that house. And I was just like going there all day, going delivering pizza at night. And I had started selling clothes on eBay also. So I would just like do that. I would go to 100 thrift stores on the days I wasn't doing that, or if I didn't have to deliver pizza, and did that for a while. But then my grandma had got cancer and she passed away. And then a year later, my grandfather also had his cancer come back and he passed away. So all the funding that I had for that just upped and walked away. And I'm
Yeah.
step family. So nothing was left for me in the will, which, whatever. I spent enough time with my grandfather to at least like gain the wisdom
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like from his business mind, you know what I mean? So I didn't end up becoming a non-functioning member of society, I guess you could put it. So after he had passed away, his son had some windows he wanted done in his house. And like at my grandpa's funeral, he's like, well, I got a bunch of stuff if you want to stay busy. Cause I was obviously like, I was like, I want to do anything to not be sitting around thinking about this.
yeah.
So I ended up uh, doing some windows over there. And a guy that I had, well, a father and son, these two father and son trim carpenters were doing the windows over there and kind of like fixing this whole back of my uncle Mike's house. And I helped them for probably like 2, 3 weeks doing that. And then Michael ended up saying like, oh yeah, well, if you still want to stay busy, you can come over here and do all this. So like he knew this guy named the fuck was his name? His name was John. Yeah, his name was John. And he was the heir to not Henry Ford's estate, but he was the heir to can't remember what the other Ford was, but it was the Ford that made all the glass or in Toledo basically.
Okay.
So there's like Owens Corning, Owens, Illinois, all those. This was kind of like his great grandfather had started basically the whole glass industry in Toledo at one point.
Okay.
So I ended up there on this super old house in Perrysburg. And Perrysburg is like this super historic town where like the War of 1812 took place and all this shit. So he had a very like nice, well, used to be nice house on this big ass piece of land, and it was all kind of disheveled because no one had really taken care of it for so long. So I ended up over there doing landscaping. Like the amount of shit that I had to do at this place was just absolutely ridiculous. Like straight like primitive landscaping, like weeds that are overgrown like 3 feet tall. Like we ended up taking all these flower beds and like getting all the weeds out of them, mulching them all. I'm talking like probably like 100 fucking yards of mulch by the time I did all of this.
Wow.
And then they had at one point they had in the back of their house they had a tennis court where when it was like a super nice house, all the like had presidents had been there and shit back in the 1800s, and like they had this tennis court back there. It used to be surrounded by trees and it was all fenced in, but the trees grew into the fences and then someone cut the trees down, but the stumps were still there. So me and my buddy, he's like, yeah, we need all those stumps removed. I'm talking like 12 fucking stumps. And the lady was kind of crazy, like his girlfriend. So she wouldn't let us, like, it wasn't like, oh, we're just gonna take a stump grinder back there. The lady didn't even want a leaf blower on the brick pathways back
Oh, it
there.
was one of
It was
those
like
things.
that.
Yeah.
So spent
She's like, do it
probably,
by hand, and I'm gonna be
yes,
outside with a whip, and I want to
yes.
see you
It's
sweating.
exactly That's exactly what happened. So me and my buddy end up probably like I'm not even shitting you, probably like 30 fucking Diablo Sawzall blades and one brand new but broken by the end of it Milwaukee Sawzall. We cut all these fucking stumps out, dude. All of them, dug them all out, got rid of them all, fixed it all up. And I was probably doing that like up until COVID. And then once COVID hit, I
So
kind
when
of
did you
ended up like
start doing that? 2019 or 2018?
probably 2019 because that's
Okay.
when my grandfather passed away.
Okay.
So after that, like Kujno was the name of the company. So Kujno ended up like they kind of through insurance work ended up finding their way into kind of like just straight up like medical losses and like going and cleaning hospitals and whatever medical facilities and stuff like that, doing like clean room work and stuff in hospitals. So they had like a medical division, as you could call it.
Okay.
So when COVID happened, it ended up being that somehow my uncle had got like a contract with them. We literally fucking set up a clean room. He bought like 10 ovens, bro. They set up a clean room in this part of this warehouse with 10 ovens and like all these sinks and all this shit, like an entrance and an exit, like the whole nine, like straight fucking hazmat shit. And my job was to every day I would get in a van and I would go from every hospital within like an hour and a half drive of here
Mm-hmm.
and fill the entire van with fucking dirty COVID masks and gowns and drop them off at this facility. And they would fucking cook the masks, take the fucking straps off, clean all the gowns, and then package them back up. And I would have to drop them back off when I picked up the next day's load.
So
So
were
I
they
did that
reusing
for,
it, or were the masks burnt?
yes. No, they were reusing them. They put them in
They
an
just
oven
did it
at
to a
just,
heat so everything
yeah,
dies, essentially.
yeah, yeah, supposedly. So they did that for probably like that was like right at the beginning of COVID when everything was like a scarcity and they couldn't find any. There was like no
Yeah.
N95 masks to be found and all of that shit. So I did that for probably like 2 months, 3 months, however long it was. That kind of started to slow down. And when that started to slow down, that's kind of like when I ended up like back with the father and son trim carpenters. They ended up getting hired in at the company. And like I had been doing things kind of with them off and on before that
Yeah.
happened. Like in this, we called this warehouse building, it was Glow. And it was totally like, it used to be like a warehouse for like head shops and shit. So
Okay.
throughout, before probably like after I, in between doing that landscaping stuff I was talking about, and like during the winter time, I'd ended up at this warehouse, like trying to renovate the whole thing with these two guys, like tearing down everything else, putting up new suspended ceiling, new walls, and all this shit. And then after the COVID thing kind of slowed down, I ended up back with those guys, and we continued to kind of renovate this warehouse building. And after so long, I ended up sort of like back doing the old cleaning tech stuff of like ripping out carpet and all that kind of shit. And ended up kind of arguing with my bosses, like, why the fuck am I back doing this? Like, I've already been doing all this other shit. Like, why can't I do an apprenticeship with these carpenters? Like, what the fuck? Because they're always out like fixing siding, or like after a house is cleaned and gutted and everything, it's all got to get put back together, right? And they were always saying they needed help. So I'm just kind of like, I want to do that. Like, fuck this shit.
Yeah,
I'm
and they're
tired
probably
of
trying
like,
to like hire from outside or something like that.
yeah,
And you're like, hey, let
everyone,
me
no
just
one ever
step.
worked
It's
out.
way easier to find a laborer role outside and then just move you up
Yeah.
than it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they would hire fucking armies of temp crackheads off the street, dude. It did
Yeah.
not matter because these people are half the time just bodies getting billed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because that's the game in insurance, like especially during the cleaning phase, like you're billing an insurance company for 50 dehumidifiers, 100 fans, like you're billing them, you're probably paying the laborers 15, $20 an hour and billing the insurance company 40 plus dollars an hour for each guy, if not more. So
Yeah.
it's a huge money grab for them. And then by having the temps on the payroll, they send them on their way. They don't have to have people like hired in, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm like, I want to go fucking I want to go learn how to be a carpenter. And I was probably like fucking 26, 27 at this
Yeah.
time. And they finally let me go do it. So I remember my first job was in Finley, and we were doing an entire trim of a house out there. And I got to meet like, I was supposed to be kind of apprenticing under, their names were Butch and Sonny, but Butch was kind of in like a supervisory role at the time. So, he was loving it. He's going to meetings all the time, shit like that. So I ended up with this dude, Danny. And to this fucking day, dude, like I love Danny to death. He's like, I only left there because I had to make more money, but like if I could pick anyone to work with like any day of the week, it would be Danny because he's the funniest motherfucker I've ever met. I remember literally like he's like, all right, man, I'm gonna show you how to case a door. So he takes me in this fucking laundry room, right? And he's standing on a bucket. And this is like literally fucking hour into me meeting him for the first time. He's standing on a fucking bucket, and all of a sudden, like, just it was like the bucket fucking exploded, bro. He literally just fucking flails out like this. His fucking foot like swipes against the wall and shit, falls on the ground on top of his tools, and I'm just standing there like, "Are you all right, bro?" I didn't know yet how like goofy Danny was, but that was my first introduction to him, and it ended up being like throughout the entire process of trimming out this house, like he showed me how to do base. He showed me how to do casing. He showed me how to fucking properly sand the fucking joints and all that kind of thing. Like, showed me how to fucking nail it all up properly. All those good things. You know what I mean? And like, he works slow as hell, but I'm glad that he works slow as hell because I ended up learning how to do that from him. I learned how to do siding from him. It was like, it was a cool like first experience for doing an apprenticeship. So I did that. That job went on for fucking ever because we had to do like the kitchen still. We had to put all the windows in, all that kind of thing. So I learned a shit ton just on that job alone, and then ended up kind of just going from there. And I just always worked with Danny pretty much from that point forward, just going from job to job to job. And there was like a couple jobs that we ended up at. Like I remember we ended up at another job in Finley where nobody told us this, but like in insurance work, sometimes you end up having to clean up a house where somebody died.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they send us to a job, and like I kind of knew everybody on every side of the company, like the carpenters, I knew like the cleaning techs, I knew all the supervisors, so I could kind of get information. So we get sent to this job, and like a lot of the adjusters there and shit like that, they just send you places. They don't fucking know what the hell's going on. So we go to
yeah.
this job, and we're standing in there, and we're in this bathroom taking out a tub, and we're standing down like waist at the fucking floor joists. And he's like, what the fuck happened here, bro? I'm like, I don't know, man. We had like a weird ass feeling about it and shit. So I hit up my buddy Jack. I'm like, you know this job at such and such address? Like, what the fuck happened here? He's like, yeah, dude, that's the fucking job where the fucking fat dude fell out of the fucking tub and melted into the floor. And we're fucking
Oh
standing
shit.
where he melted into, and no one
Yeah,
told us. Like, yeah, there was a dead guy in there. So we're basically in a fucking biohazard fucking atmosphere.
yeah.
Like, just fucking t-shirt and jeans, like, and then I tell Danny that shit, and he fucking, dude, he gets wide eyed as fuck, like, starts freaking the fuck out, like, jumps out of the fucking house, like, you gotta go get some shit right now, bro. You gotta go get something to clean this. And I like go grab some like bleach spray and like some random shit like that. And he fucking spends the entire rest of the day outside spraying off every single fucking thing he owns because he thinks he's gonna get like the fucking Black Plague or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he was fucking spooked,
Dude,
and
that
we kind
reminds me.
of
So I wasn't licensed yet when the pandemic hit. I was literally just in the process of like putting in my application and testing when that all that happened. So I was still working for this guy doing structural retrofits in San Francisco. And we had an entire apartment building on stilts, so we still got to work. And actually, on my YouTube channel, there's a video that I did for the months that I was going into work. Dude, I was on the Golden Gate Bridge with like one other car. I've never had the pandemic was fantastic for me because I never had traffic, dude. Just nobody was out.
oh yeah, I know. I've been to
And but
San
I
Francisco once, and it's
yeah,
fucking
you
crazy.
yeah, okay. So you kind of know it's busy place, lot and very
Yeah.
fucking compact. But I show up and my boss at the time is bleaching fucking everything on the job site, dude. He's like dumping it on the Bobcat, all the shovels, fucking everything, dude. He was tripping. And
Oh,
dude,
because he
I
thought he
came
was
in
gonna
there.
get COVID.
Yeah, because of COVID, exactly. He just did not know because he had just had kids, so he had newborns at home and stuff like. So he was tripping. I hadn't
I
had
think
kids
everybody
yet.
kind of was at first.
Yeah, but dude, it just reeked of bleach in there, dude. And I remember the guy that we're friends now. You know, we've been friends for a long time since high school, and he was working with us. And he goes, "Dude, let's just go home. I ain't working in this shit. It smells like bleach." And I was like,
That
"Yeah, I
shit like
agree,
burns your
dude."
fucking eyes.
Yeah, dude, and it's just like it's pneumonia and shit. Just gets to you, man. So
Uh huh. Yeah, I fucking. Luckily, there, like when we were fucking doing all that COVID shit, they had some random chemical that was like natural, but it had like thymol in it, so it
okay,
just smelled like thyme. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I had a bottle of that shit, and like every time I would fucking do, the van would be full to the fucking roof, and it's an open fucking van, so it's like I'm not driving with a mask on, I'm not
yeah.
driving with gloves on. I'm handling it with a mask and gloves on, and it's all in bags that are like double bagged and tied like six fucking times. But I would just throw everything in the van, spray a shit ton of this shit all over the fucking place, and then just start fucking driving around. Like I'm literally just probably in a fucking, I'm just in a fucking mist of fucking COVID probably. But somehow I never got it until like a year and a half, maybe 2 years after I did all that shit.
You really, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Who
got it
knows, dude? I don't
from,
know. I don't know what it is, man. Some people got it, some people didn't. I was
yeah,
building
I'm
a house
like,
in Texas when I got it. I had like been in California for like 2 months, 3 months, and then I left and was building a house, and I got it in Texas. And luckily it like was raining all week, so we weren't working. But I remember laying in, it was like 3 days I didn't get out of bed, dude. And
Yeah,
I
it
remember
fucking
laying in bed looking out, and I was in like butt fuck Texas, dude. The town had like fucking 1,200 people, and like I'm from the Bay Area, dude, and I'm a hick here, but like I like my small towns I can only do for so long. But I
well,
was sitting there.
I gotta
Go
think
ahead.
country California versus country Texas is like night and fucking day. Like middle of nowhere
I
Texas
don't know. It
versus
depends. It is a different, it's different country. I don't know. The people are kind of the same. The one thing about California, I'll tell you this, is once you get outside the city, dude, it's a totally different thing. It's Republicans, it's rednecks, it's hunting, it's fishing, it's mining, it's logging. It's like a
that's kind of how
completely different
Oregon
world.
is.
How Oregon is?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
My aunt lives up in fucking Portland, obviously.
Yeah,
So
I mean that's pretty
I
much
go out there
the
all the
Pacific
time.
Northwest, dude. It's like the same with Washington. Once you leave
Yep.
Seattle and you go to Spokane, it's a completely different fucking place.
Yep. Trump flag and the
So
whole nine.
yeah, we just got major cities and stuff. But what was I saying? I was laying in there and I was staring out the window. It was raining, and I go, dude, I'm gonna fucking die in butt fuck Texas, dude. And like I got COVID and shit. I'm like, God damn it, dude. And I just got married. We got married, and the next morning I woke up, got in my truck, and I drove to Texas, and I was there for 3 fucking months.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So you got to do what
Oh,
you got to
that's
do, bro. Got married in my
yeah.
fucking grandparents' backyard. We had a whole wedding planned at this vineyard and shit, and of course all of it got canceled, and whole
Oh,
fucking
because of
thing.
COVID.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, we lost like I think, dude, my in-laws lost probably like 30,000 in deposits for that the catering. We had like this like big chef and everything, and then all the furniture rentals, yeah, I mean, dude, porta
Oh,
potties. It's like when you're planning to have almost 100 people at a wedding,
yeah.
it's a lot in the deposits, and nobody knew this was fucking coming, so
Right.
it's pretty
You
insane.
think
But
like you think they'd be like, well, given the circumstances, we're gonna help you out
no,
here, but of course not.
because nobody wanted to give money back because they had no clue if they were going to have a job in a month. Like
Yeah, that
nobody
is
knew
true.
what was going to happen to the economy. I mean, we were honestly very lucky being in the trades. We had such a boom and everything. Probably my work
Right.
tripled overnight. But a lot of people weren't like that, man. A lot of people were like completely fucked, So
I know I was making a fucking killing off that. Well, I mean, a killing for me at the time. I was like
yeah.
making almost $30 an hour, and I was working from like 4 in the morning until like fucking 4 at night, 5 at night, and then the whole time that I was doing the fucking, I called it the Rona wagon. So when I was
Yeah.
driving the Rona wagon around, I was doing reselling. So like there was just like random shit, not like fucking toilet paper and all that kind of shit, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like the random shit. So like I would find out like for some fucking reason during COVID, they closed all the public pools, right? So then everybody wanted those fucking blue Intex pools. So I was fucking all over the state, or at least my area within the fucking 2 hour radius. So like in between my drops, I would just pop into Meyer, I'd pop into fucking Walmart and shit and be like, let me see if they got one of these fucking pools. And then I would fucking throw them in the van and then sell them for like a fucking $100, $200 more all the way back in Toledo because nobody could fucking find them.
hmm
So instead of, I mean, I guess I was scalping, I guess you could say, but not fucking toilet paper and fucking stupid ass shit like that. It was
Dude,
more
no, I
like
mean
a,
it is what it is, man. You're taking a product that's needed from one place to another. It is what it is, and like it's supply and demand. My mom is president of a hardware store here. They
yeah,
have never made as much money as they made during the pandemic. My mother was
I bet.
fucking making a killing on N95 masks. And like she was able to keep in contact with the factory and like get shipments and stuff. But dude, like it's supply and demand. I mean, she tripled prices and still sold out, right? You know what I
Right.
mean? And so it
Yeah.
is what it
And
is.
it's like, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, well, when am I ever going to fucking make this much money off of this fucking thing?
Well,
Never.
dude, all that money that my mom made, so she actually all the money from the government gave her to keep her employees paid during COVID, she didn't have to touch. So that is still sitting in an account, like millions just sitting there. And then all the money
Oh,
they
wow.
made, all that profit, my mom decided just not to reinvest because she had no clue what the hell was going to happen with COVID. And bro, they're still sitting on that money to this day. And that's why they're so strong and like able to weather what they're weathering now because she just saved all the fucking money. Dude, she was doing 1 million a month. You know what I mean? Or
It's
actually, no,
fucking
a million a week. She usually does 1 million a month. I think she was doing like 1 million a week during COVID or something. It was like insanity, you
that
know?
is insane.
Yeah. So it's like the suppliers made so much fucking money,
Everybody
and
did.
stuff. I mean, dude, it was crazy, crazy times.
Yeah, I can only imagine what the amount of money that the fucking that Kujina was making on this account that they had
Yeah.
doing this fucking like mask cooking shit. I can
Well, dude,
only
if you're
imagine,
making
dude.
30 an hour, dude, they're charging you out at 120 minimum to the
Probably,
to the
yeah.
government. You know what I mean? They'd be
And
stupid not to.
I was getting hazard pay also.
Exactly. So they might be up at 180 to 200 every hour you're
Yeah,
working. They're probably billing the government that.
fucking
And
insane.
COVID was like free money, man. Like you just wrote
It
checks to the
was
government and they just paid it.
fucking
We
crazy.
printed a bunch of money. It's just like it was what it was. So
Yeah,
then
they had
how'd
been
you get
doing.
into what you're doing now? So like you're like are you doing full ground up builds and
Yeah,
everything or what's your
yeah,
present day?
well, like I want to say it's almost like this summer will be my fourth year working with what is my father-in-law. But I he like when I met my girlfriend, somehow, some way, it's fucking life is fucking weird like this, but um my grandpa before he died, he had a job for my grandma's best friend and she did like a garage addition of some sort. So one day I go over there and I'm fucking doing some drywall and I'm painting the fucking exterior of this fucking thing. I was like ripping a stump out, just a bunch of random shit.
And you
And I meet
got
this
you got
guy.
your torn off homemade tank top, right? And you're just sweating, looking hot as shit, and the granddaughter just happens to catch an eye.
No,
Oh, okay.
it wasn't that lucky. Um fucking it ended up being that like the guy that my grandfather had hired to frame this this addition on her house happened to be my father-in-law, but I just didn't know it yet.
Okay, okay.
Like,
Gotcha.
and then probably like it was like almost 2021 when I met Amanda, and this was like 2019 when I met Michael, which is her father-in-law's name. So I'm like, I did all that, went on with my life, fucking ended up back at Kuzno for whatever, and then I'm dating Amanda, and she kept talking about her father or her stepdad, which is Michael, and I'm like, I don't know why. For some fucking reason, I feel like I've met this guy before. The
Yeah,
way she
yeah.
described him and shit. And the first time I go over there to meet the parents, I'm thinking like because he was a pararescueman in the fucking Air Force and shit, like Air Force Special Forces, like fucking karate guy and all this shit. I never had good luck with parents in my entire life as far as girlfriends went. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go again. Another dad that's gonna fucking hate me. So I go over there for dinner and I meet her mom. It's fucking great, whatever. And then Michael comes around the corner. I'm like, Michael, you remember me, Forrest's grandson. He's like, oh yeah. So it was like I already fucking met this dude 2 years prior
Yeah.
and ended up just happening to date Amanda. And he, from that point, basically the entire time I was still working at Kujina, I was doing that apprenticeship with Danny and Butch and Sonny. He kept telling me, he's like, man, I really need guys. I really need guys. I'll pay you well. I'll pay you well. And I just kept like, I had my, hold on,
Yeah, do your thing,
fuck
dude.
my stupid ass fucking cat. But, he kept telling me like, you need to come frame, you need to come frame. And I always had like my view of framing being like, oh, that's just for like degenerates, kind of like you end up framing, you don't choose to frame, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Because this is just kind of like what everyone had always made framing sound like. Because when you're young, like your only exposure to trades is what you hear about them.
Hmm.
And because like it's not like the school bus is taking you to a framing site, like this is framing carpentry, guys, check it out. You know what I mean? And I didn't go to, like, we had Penn a Career Center here, which was like the like little trade school where you could go and like you could do carpentry in high school, or you could do like veterinary and shit in high school and shit. And I didn't go, but all my other buddies did. And one day he offered me more money than I could refuse. So I was like, you know what, guys, fuck this. I'm gonna go frame. And that was, oh fuck, well, then maybe like it's 2026 now, so like 2022
Okay.
probably. I'm like, all right, I'll come frame. And I mean, I knew how to fucking use the circ saw at that point. I knew how to pull numbers, all those kinds of things, but I had zero fucking idea how to frame, like, in all actuality. And I had on the weekends and at night, like, he had a job he was kind of in over his head on, and I would go help him on the weekends, like just fucking cutting shit, handing him shit, all those kinds of things.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I ended up just going out there full time. And my buddy Nick ended up coming out there full time with me too. And we did, we kind of like helped him finish a job that was on the river here. That was a pretty big job. Like, I got to like cut my teeth, like fucking, he's got like some ancient ass wall cranks, and we fucking balloon framed a fucking rake wall and fucking cranked that shit up. I got a video, it's like maybe one of my first videos on my Instagram. And this was like, I had never really been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try the Instagram thing. I just wanted to fucking be like, I was just like, this is really cool. I want to take a video of it and put it out
Yeah.
there so I can look back on it, you know? So I did that, and then ended up going and had my first experiences like flying trusses with the fucking crane, which was insane because like my fucking my mother-in-law will come out there and run tagline and shit. And then I'm out there just like the nail boy. Like, I had to fucking go from the house to the truss package and fucking pull them out so that the fucking crane could reach them and shit. And I was literally sprinting in fucking circles, like,
Yeah.
for like my entire first like couple weeks on the job, dealing with like the old cranky dude. His name was Dave. Like, he had no teeth, cigarette smoking ass motherfucker. He was just like always talking shit to us, calling us laborers. Like, and when Michael would leave, he'd be like, "Yeah, I can fucking tell you guys work harder when he's here." I'm like, "So do you? What are you fucking talking about, Dave?" So it like started with like that kind of shit where it's like some old guy talking a bunch of shit to me and I'm trying to like respectfully like chirp back to him and that
Well,
kind of deal. So we did,
I do want to breach into that just a little bit. Sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, it seems like okay, so one, it seems like the Instagram is growing pretty fast. You're at like 11,000 followers now last time I looked. And then
yeah,
it seems like you are, let's say, having a romantic argumentative relationship with all the old guys on Facebook, because that
I
seems to
am
be
for
where they
sure.
congregate the most, where our generation's more
Yeah.
Instagram. So,
Yes.
do you think that rage baiting and stuff and that style has like grown you so much, or you were just kind of on it already and you just like fucking with everybody? Was that planned or
I think I think from like, because I was a skater kid, like when skateboarding was like, like the tight pants era and shit
like
like
more
that.
punk
Like,
and everything? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
100%.
I think it might come really from all the way back then when like every day I would go to school, some motherfucker would be talking shit to me because like I was kind of a fat kid in junior high and shit like that. So like I had always been getting shit talked to me, whether it
Me
was
too,
at
bro.
school
I was
or
short and fat, dude. In high school, I was like 5'4" or something, and 180 pounds, dude. I was like a little bowling ball.
that's
And yeah,
exactly what I
same
was.
thing. Like again, I played football, so people were a little easy
No,
on me. But
I didn't
of
play
course,
any
when it came to the
sports.
football team, they'd fucking be on my ass all the fucking time,
Oh yeah, that's even worse almost because then it's like a whole fucking, it's all of those guys picking on you. I would at least like be able to avoid them sometimes. Like, I would just like, there was always like the like wannabe ghetto kids in fucking school that would
Yeah.
always talk shit to me and be like, "Oh, nice pants, faggot," like shit like that all the time. And like it really fucking hurt me all the time, I remember. And it's like the only way that I could get back at them is being fucking better at shit talking than they were. So it was like,
Yep.
whether it was them or it was like older kids that would see us on the street, bro, they'd drive by us and fucking hurl milkshakes at us and shit. Like they'd find us on the street, like the
Sorry
cops
to
picked
laugh,
on
but
us.
it
Like,
just
no, it's yeah, it's fucking funny, but
as
like,
you get older, you're just like, dude, we're just like insane when we're kids, dude. We literally are like
yes,
brainless monkeys and we're just like running around throwing shit at each other. We're
yeah,
like we're like bullying each other to like literal suicide sometimes. It's
exactly.
like,
And especially like, I mean, that was like the Jackass era kind of too.
yeah,
Like
dude,
Jackass,
100.
fucking
Yep.
Viva La Bam, like all those kinds of things. And like
Yep.
skateboarding wasn't quite accepted by everyone yet until probably like after I graduated, I want to say, because I graduated in 2011. And I
Okay,
remember
yeah.
like I was kind of like almost angry in a way. Like I'd see all these dudes like dressing like skaters and shit, and I'd always say like, "Man, this is fucking bullshit." Like
Yeah, posers, man.
I used to get fucking tormented for this shit,
Yeah.
dude. Like, what the fuck? Fucking like tie dye shirts and like being a hippie and shit because I was always like the long. I still had long hair back then. I was always like the long haired hippie skater kid,
Well, dude, for
and I think
me, it was opposite. So the skater stuff in California, the gangster style dressing, all the ghetto stuff, that was all norm, right? But me, I was a
yeah,
hick.
especially in
So
California.
I wore jeans, Carhartt jacket, boots, right? Because my dad was a welder. My mom had a hardware
Which is funny
store.
now because that's like how all those dudes dress.
That's what I'm saying. So as I was going up, country started becoming big. I didn't even listen to country. I
Me
just went
neither.
hunting, fishing, and did like I started doing construction at 15. I started, and then I
Right.
was digging holes for my dad at 9 or whatever. But
Yeah.
and then yeah, and then it all changed, and now at my bar in my hometown, now they do country line dancing every Thursday and stuff, and it's like pretty. It's funny how everything whatever's trending now is going to be lame in the future, and whatever's lame now is going to be trending in the future. So you just got to wait for your time.
It's true too. I feel like and like I've done construction forever too, but I never leaned into it. I feel like my whole thing when I was younger in construction was that I wasn't gonna have to do it the rest of my life. And look how it turned out. Like I can remember still like on one of those jobs where I was a little laborer kid, I remember like we were ripping off there's a area of town called Ottawa Hills and like Katie Holmes is fucking from there and like her parent I was doing a job next door to her parents' house and we're ripping all the fucking stucco off this mansion and then we're just resheeting it. And I can remember the carpenters like, well, you want us to show you how to cut sheets? I'm like, fuck that, dude. I don't get paid to be a carpenter. Why the fuck would I want to know how to do that? Like I was that dumb. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. I was like, well, I'm going to college. I'm Mr. fucking college guy. Like, and I never leaned into it enough. And then here I am now, fucking full blown fucking wannabe carpenter on the internet. But I do think like all of that to say like getting picked on my whole life and just always like being like trying to be better at talking shit and like always trying to get the last word. I think it ended up translating into like being able to kind of hold my own with older dudes on construction sites. Cause like that Dave dude I was talking about, like I remember like me and my buddy Nick, who I grew up with, we were fucking working on this job the one day and like we always joke that this is why Dave quit. But like he's talking about God damn, I can't even remember fucking Elton John. He's talking about Elton John one day. And then we're like, he was always one of those like super homophobic dudes. Like, I
Yeah.
could give a fuck less if you're gay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do make a lot of gay jokes. But I remember like we're like, Dave, you listen to Elton John? You know he's gay, right? That's kind of what the fuck are you doing, bro? He's like, he ain't fucking gay. I'm like, dude, he's fucking
Yeah,
gay,
dude,
bro.
he's as
He's a
queer as a
gay.
$3 bill. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And he's like, gets all fucking mad because that was like in the conversation of him also saying that he went and saw Greta Van Fleet. And like the front man
Oh,
of Greta
dude,
Van
Greta
Fleet is
Van
also
Fleet. Oh
gay.
my God.
Yes. They're from like around here somewhere, you know what I mean? So like we're like, oh bro, did he whip it out? Oh, is that why you went, bro? We want to know, you know what I mean? And he just kept like, we would always kind of do that kind of shit and play on like, because every old guy, they're so easy because like it's just call them a girl, tell them like say anything gay around them. Like they don't realize like you don't really have to be that good at talking shit to older guys because they're so fucking fragile. Like they don't even
Well, dude,
realize it. It's like,
you know what? I've had a few like, dude, like at the lumber yard and stuff. Like actually, one guy, I was getting drywall. He was a drywaller, and I was backed up. I was waiting for the forklift to bring down some more half inch, and I was kind of in his way. So I go up to him. I go, "Hey, you want me to move my trailer out of the way? You can get your rock and stuff." He goes, "Yeah," and we are super cool. And I move, and dude, then we're inside paying, and he flips on me, and he starts like freaking out, like because I had like me and then my crew, and we were all in separate trucks, and then I had my trailer. He's like, "You got everybody all over the fucking yard and stuff." I go, "What are you mad? I'm doing more business than you." You know, and like, dude, I just start with that, dude. And he goes, "You don't even know how many properties I own." I go, "Bro, you know how many properties my family owns?" Dude, I go, "We're fourth generation here, dude. Like, all we've been doing is fucking printing money and buying real estate. What the fuck are you talking about?" And so he's about to hit me. I go, "Dude, hit me. I'd love to sue you and put your real estate in my portfolio, you know?" And I just like, going down the line, and dude, everybody at the counter is laughing to this day, dude. I walk in, and like the cashiers are like, "Hey, dude, don't get in any more fights." Like, you know, just like they never
it's
forget it. But yeah,
always,
I don't
it's
know what it is. And my biggest thing is, I go, "You know, dude, I love dinosaurs like you. Every day you get older and I take more of your business." I go, I just say shit like that, and it just like fucking gets them heated, man, because they know it's true. They're getting older. And
right.
one day
Yeah,
I'll be
exactly.
them. I'll be that ornery fucking
And
asshole
you think
too,
they would
but
just like, they would
not
just
today.
not talk that shit because 90% of them, like that dude in particular, it's like he had been working for my father-in-law for his entire fucking life,
Yeah.
hourly. Like he had never ever tried to do anything else his entire life. All he ever did was fucking smoke crack,
Yeah.
basically. And he'd always be like, I'm the fucking king of the North End, like which the North End of Toledo is literally like the fucking worst part of town. Like
Yeah.
to be the king of the North End is literally like fucking
Well, dude,
nothing.
before I was licensed, I like maintained a lot of Section 8 apartments, and like I've met a lot of characters like that and stuff. You know, would say stuff like that, and I was a young man, and I just like keep my mouth shut, but I would just leave. I go, "Dude, you don't even own the property you live in. Like you don't even own the apartment or the house or anything, and this place is a shithole." I go,
Like
like, I don't get where the flex is here. You know what I mean? And
like
it's like I see
you
how you live.
fucking
I
you
don't
literally
know who
have to
you're
be
fooling.
broke. You have to be destitute to live here.
Yeah.
But yet you're compulsively lying to me about how you fucking I got a Lamborghini or some shit. It's just in storage right now. Like just
Yeah.
dumb shit like that where you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like I would work with all kinds of random dudes like that at Kujno too, because like there'd be a lot of temps and it'd just be like dudes would come in there that are like half want to be rappers and they'd be fucking talking on the phone all day, smelling like beer. A lot of them, dude, I'd be working with a guy, he'd fucking throw on Facebook Live and put it in the corner so that everyone on his Facebook knew he was at work that day. Like, yeah, I work construction. Like, what the fuck? Like trying to get some fucking ass that night. I also actually funny fucking story in between like the framing and being at Kujno, I worked with my own dad at a place called GDY, and we kind of did like office partitions and like we
Okay.
do like fucking cafeteria tables and desk chairs for fucking schools and shit. And one day we're over working some job, and I go to lunch with this fucking guy, and we go to this gas station, and this is kind of like my first experience of like a fucking full blown alcoholic at work. And I remember like he goes in there. I get a fucking sub at Subway inside the gas station, and I'm going up to pay for it, and he's buying a fucking Bud Ice tall boy and a
Yeah.
fucking couple fucking little tiny fucking liquors. You know what I mean? And proceeds to fucking get in the company box truck, and we go fucking driving around the fucking what you would call
Yeah,
the
and he's
host room.
drinking and driving.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
dude,
also
you boys back east, bro, is same in Texas, dude. I had to have a 30 rack of beer in the cooler in my truck, or nobody would work for us in Texas, bro. It's insane. You
none
boys
of us
drink like
drink.
crazy.
None of us drink. I've done my fair share of drinking, but it's me. I don't know. I don't know if you follow him. It's Austin. He's the Western tradesman on Instagram. But it's me,
No.
him, and our father-in-law. Yeah, I think his old Instagram name was like Os Collins Carpentry or some shit. He always changes his fucking Instagram name for some
I think
reason.
I know that one. That sounds more familiar. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it was Os M Collins
Yeah, that one
Carpentry.
sounds more familiar to me.
Yeah, he just changed it, but he's my girlfriend's sister's boyfriend, and then we both work for their stepdad. And he doesn't drink. My father-in-law, he was a fucking seasoned drinker at one point, but luckily he doesn't anymore. But yeah, dude, that guy was drinking in the van or in the box truck, but we were driving around. He was fucking trying to find a hooker. And I'm just fucking I'm in the passenger seat, just fucking I'm just eating a sub. And he's trying to find a hooker for after work. And then we go back to the job and they're all looking at us like, what the fuck took you so long? And I can't be like, well, this fucking guy was looking for a hooker and fucking drinking. What the fuck do you mean? Well, where were we at? I can't even tell you.
I
Like,
can't
what the
even
hell?
tell you.
Right. And like,
Yeah,
I mean,
dude, but that's who's in construction, man. And that's what I tell a lot of
it's
people. I go,
true.
you
It's
just have to
true.
read a few books and like be somewhat disciplined and you'll be fine. I mean, dude, I will say this, dude. I'm busy and like it is what it is, but dude, I don't know. I got a good fucking life, dude. It's like I fucking, talking about drinking, I do drink a lot and stuff, but I'm in the place to do it and stuff. But yeah, dude,
I
yeah,
think
I don't know
there's
what
like
it is, man. Like you just have to
certain
be on your shit a
times.
little bit and you're fine, dude. But you keep
Yeah.
work and party separate and you'll be okay. But a lot of guys in construction can't do that. They can't keep it separate and they
I
also
think
can't
it's
stop themselves. Like if shit's not going good and I got a lot of shit to take care of and stuff, we're not partying, you know what I mean? So,
right. That's what I mean. I think it's really an either or I find in the trades where it's like they're the dudes that have had their lives ruined by partying that
yeah.
work hourly in construction and then dudes that are fucking out there getting work, making good money and they kind of keep a balance. I've just never really liked drinking that much personally, so I've been more of a weed smoker most of my life. And like I feel like the reason that I'm not a like full blown contractor at this point is because I've spent a little bit of time doing a bunch of different shit and never fully understanding how to do each thing that I was doing because I've just hopped job to job to job. And I feel like this is kind of the longest I've done one trade. And that's another reason why, like on my Instagram, I'll never, you'll never see me like on there trying to portray myself as like awesome framers or like anything like that. I'm purely on there just to be unapologetically myself and show some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that I do know, but I'm not on there to lie about anything. You know what I mean? It's kind of more of a I'm a framer. We have a good time at work. And I've kind of like used it to show, to not only, I guess, piss off old dudes, but also show younger kids that it's like, you don't really necessarily have to be like a journeyman fucking carpenter to go out and try to be one. You can try to be a carpenter later on in your life, like I did. I mean, because I just think there's so many like preconceived notions when it comes to especially framing and the trades in general that it's like people like us being on the internet kind of give everyone out there the opportunity to see it for what it is and not just hear it from everybody else that's like because they're just going to hear it from one of the people that are in the comments that are like, oh, it'll fucking ruin your life, they'll paint the picture with their brush, you know what I mean?
The way I describe it is this, you know, I will say this, being a wealthy contractor. I think you'll always make a living in the trades and stuff like that, but I know people are always like looking for more, especially the younger generation. And luckily in this country, you can become a billionaire doing anything. Like you could literally sell party balloons or fucking whatever and make
Yeah,
$1 billion. The guy who
exactly.
makes a fucking sponge scrub daddy is a billionaire, right? So you
Hmm.
could do anything, but being a wealthy contractor is kind of like being an OnlyFans girl. About 1% of GCs or other subcontractors are actually going to like have the discipline and have the systems and stuff to make that $1 billion company. Now, again, that's
Yeah.
not saying anybody can do it, but it's how disciplined they're going to be, to that journey, I would say. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and
like,
I'm kind of trying to like basically make sure that because like even like in my trial reels and shit like that, so that I can get people to actually follow in the first place. There have been a lot that I've kind of been like what people don't tell you about construction, like kind of just broad
yeah.
spectrum topics where it's like exactly that like you can be nothing in construction or you could be everything in construction, but it strictly comes down to the amount of work that you're willing to put in, how much you're willing to learn, and how much time you're willing to put in.
Well, and I was gonna say that's the biggest one, how long you can stick around, because unfortunately it doesn't pay off for like 10 years. And a lot of
Yeah,
people look at me like I'm only 30, and I've had the company for 5 years and stuff, and I was young when I did that, but I literally made the decision at 15 to become a contractor. You know what
yeah,
I mean? So I knew it young, and I started then, and I it didn't pay off though for 10 fucking years, you know?
yeah. I've been half in, half out for too long. And it's like I know that, so it's like I'm just doing what I can with what I have. You know what I mean? But I'm also not trying to be like a grifter, I guess.
What sold
Where
it for
like,
me was I had a stint in life insurance when actually a little bit before the pandemic hit, like a year before. And I remember I was going to quit my job and not try to become a contractor anymore. I had gotten offered this deal from Northwestern Mutual, and I was in Colorado visiting my cousins, and my now wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, she calls me, and she told me her parents are the ones paying her rent at the time, and they cut her off. And so she calls me, she's cut off, she can't pay rent. And so I pay everything. I'm like sitting there and I'm like, fuck, dude, do I take this life insurance job? Because the thing about life insurance is it can be good money, but especially when you're starting, dude, you're not gonna make a sale for 2, 3, 6 months, right? And
yeah,
at the time, I had a good amount of money saved up, and I was still living with my parents. And so I knew, okay, because my plan was to go into wealth management and do more like stock portfolio stuff and everything. And that was my way in. But I remember I ended up calling Northwestern Mutual. I declined the offer, and then I called up my old boss and I go, "Hey, bro, I'm actually not quitting. I'll be at work when I get back from Colorado." And he's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Luckily, he was super cool, and I'm still friends with him to this day. But yeah, and that finally sold it for me. And I go, "Okay, I'm gonna go full in on construction. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep going for my contractor's license. Like, let's stay on this path." There's a reason all this happened, because God, the universe, whatever you believe, it like
yeah,
it knows my path, and I'm glad I did, because I don't think I'd be, dude. I can't make a dollar doing anything else. I truly could not make a dollar doing anything else than swinging a hammer. You know?
yeah. I feel like I knew that too, but when it's like when you grow up around someone who's successful and wealthy, it's like you end up taking their advice at face value, but you're not really maybe willing to like see how that applies to like what you want for your life. And I
Yeah, yeah,
think if
yeah.
I would have done that when I was a lot younger, I would have just been like, and I'm not going to go to college. I'm just going to go this route. But being convinced that like I would never make any money here from a guy who had money, and it's like we tried to flip those houses, and I guess another thing that I glossed over was like I got my fucking real estate license also
Okay,
because I was gonna I was gonna procure the properties for us to flip.
okay.
And then once he passed away, it was like I'm like, why? I would go to these like
You have no
continuing
funding for your
education
flips,
meetings and
pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, and I would go because you have to like do all these classes at the fucking brokerage and all this shit. And it's like I would go to this stuff and I'd sit in this room and I just felt like such a fucking imposter. And I just knew like a week, 2 weeks in, I'm just like, I sold one house and I'm like, I just don't want to do this. It's like you have to, it's almost like a pyramid scheme. Like you said, it's like you're not going to make much money. No one's going to take you seriously until you make like a crazy name for yourself.
Yep.
And even like when my grandpa passed away, like this is how I knew I was never going to be a realtor. when my grandfather passed away, like he had a fucking, I mean, a $500,000 house, which around here is a pretty nice house. Not crazy, but around here,
I'll
that's
tell
a
you this.
pretty,
I bought mine for 490 and I fucking had to gut the place.
yeah, right. Well, in California, but like my house is like a $200,000 house, which is like a starter home now. But back then, like a 500,000, 600,000, that's a pretty nice house. My
Yeah,
grandpa had a
yeah.
lot of money, but he wasn't really flashy, probably because of my grandma. But like when he passed away, his family, like it would have been my golden opportunity. Like I could have listed the house with a somebody at the brokerage. I would have learned everything about the in and out of selling a house of that caliber, but they used somebody else. So
Yeah.
I knew right then, I'm like, well, if my own family isn't gonna fucking help me out here, I'm gonna have to pay my dues forever doing this. And I'm just like, well, if I'm gonna have to pay my dues doing this, I would just rather, I don't know, just like you said, it's like I just kept going back to construction because it was just like I liked everybody more. Everybody understood me. It's like I just felt more comfortable. It was more free. It was like I didn't have to be this like fake person to make a dollar, which I hated more than anything. It's like you can be unapologetically yourself in construction every day at work. You can love the people you work with. You get to be outside all the time, but you can also gain skills that you could take anywhere in the fucking world and do almost anything with. And if you never work construction another day in your life, if something breaks in your house, you can fix it. It's like kind of like one of the only career paths that you actually gain a fucking life skill, not necessarily just like a career skill. It's like, what do you do with real estate when you're not a realtor? I mean, you understand the housing market. I know how to go on and figure out who owns what house and shit like that. I can be a little bit investigative. Sometimes people that I know from real estate will hit me up to like do paint jobs and shit like that because that's most of like I've made a pretty good amount of money on the side painting, but I don't really take on a lot of side work on the carpentry side until like recently because I never felt like I really learned it enough to lie to somebody and take their money for it either.
Yeah.
But I still, it's like you know how to do it and no one can take that
Yeah, you
away
just
from
gotta
you.
go for it, dude. I mean, yeah, listen, like, I don't know if you've checked out what I do, but like, I do everything from the concrete and I even do the mini
I
splits
have.
and everything. And so everybody asked me, like, how'd you learn that? I go, and it was when I had that like Section 8 apartment contract. I mean, they had 100 plus rental units from San Jose, California up to Sacramento, right? It's about a 100 mile bubble. And
Yeah.
um, so it was either wait for these subcontractors or like take a whack at it myself, right? So like I managed everything, and if like an AC unit went out or whatever, I'd schedule a sub to come, but he was always a day, 2 days, or whatever. And so I would just decide, all right, let me just see if I can just fucking do it. And I would just do it, and then sometimes I figured it
Right.
out, sometimes I didn't, and just a lot of trial and error, but a lot of it, dude, is just having the ball. And dude, I remember when I started doing side work myself, somebody be like, "Oh yeah, you've done this before." I go, "Oh yeah, totally." And I'm just fucking lying out my fucking ass, dude. And I'd go home, I'd watch a YouTube video, I'd get all prepared, I'd like make a to-do list, like, okay, we're gonna do it in these steps. And then I was like, all right, dude, worst comes to worst is like you just fuck up, you just give the money back and just get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
you just gotta have the balls
I,
to do it, unfortunately. And you know more than you think. You know what I mean? If
yeah,
that
I
makes
think that's
sense.
like,
You know?
well, recently, like you were saying, like most people who try to be contractors don't make it. Like we literally just did two jobs for that guy basically. It's like this guy has been a trim carpenter for a long time. He decides like I want to be a builder. So we did a barn dominium for him and then we just did this whole cabin project for him. And it was like the whole time, like in the first place on this barn dominium, it's like you can kind of hear when people talk about certain things like they're in over their head. They use a
Yeah.
lot of sales terms and shit like that, and they're just like kind of parroting the same things over and over again and not really giving any like actual information about what's going on, or they don't really seem to have any of the context of what's going on. They're not running their job right. So we had bid this job and it was all just going to be like G metal barn metal, right?
Hmm.
Well, it gets changed to a standing seam roof and all steel board and batten, which is like a new product that no one really does, it seems, or not as much, especially in our area. And the builder never tells the homeowner that there's a $20,000 difference in the price of the material,
Yeah.
which you would think would be pertinent information, right, to your client, like because they're expecting that you're going to advise them through the process, I would assume, right? And then it just ends up like going on and on and on. He pulls us off the job to go out and try to get a real head start on this cabin project. We're just going to go out there and do the tear off, prepare for the addition, put the deck on, sheet it, go back out, finish the metal. Then he decides he wants to frame the whole cabin. But then in the process of framing the cabin, he's got like a napkin drawing of a print. And he's like, now I want to add a dormer. Now I want to add a fireplace. Now I want to add a breezeway. And it like changed up all the point loads. He added all these windows and shit that made it even harder. We ended up having to add two giant ass beams that one almost fucking smashed me. And it was like my father in law basically had to fucking do this all like as we went, basically. Like, oh well, that's not going to work. I got to put this here. Like, he had to redraw this whole fucking thing. We end up out there from September until I think I don't know, we just got it done like a couple like last week or the week before. In the dead of fucking winter, bro. It was like negative fucking 30 out here. We were doing fucking steel board and batten, but we had to
Dude,
fucking
I
take
couldn't
out of
do
the
that, man.
snow.
I'm a fucking skinny California boy. I hate the fucking cold, bro. When it gets to
Dude,
the 40s and 30s here, I got my Makita or my Milwaukee heated jacket on, dude. I can't do it.
yeah, bro. We were out there fucking every day. The coldest fucking like after all that snow hit out here, the snow hit and then it was fucking negative 20, negative 30, fucking negative 15
Oh,
every single day. And we worked on it every single day till we got it done. And now the guy owes my father-in-law a bunch of money, right?
yeah,
And he's
of
thinking
course.
like, oh well, I've known this guy forever. He's my friend. He's gonna be good for it. And I'm sitting there thinking like, dude, he's not gonna fucking be good for it. But
Yeah.
what do I know, right? He's your friend. I haven't been in this for 40 fucking years. And then we're about to go back out because we had already framed and dried in that cabin, which you can't even call it a cabin. It's a fucking mansion in the woods now.
Yeah.
But you've probably seen it on my Instagram. But yeah,
Yeah.
we fucking dried it all in. We're going out there to start the fucking roof because we were supposed to do the shingles. There's like shingles and metal roof that was going on some of these dormers, and then we're going to do the siding too. So we're going out there like Friday before last, about to start the roof, and the dude pulls up on my father-in-law and he's like, "Gotta let you go. I need you to get your tools out of there." We had 2 months of work that we were going to do for this guy. He ran out of money. He had a forklift that sat there for fucking a month while he pulled us off the job, which I told him, I'm like, you need to get this forklift out of here and get in front of this, dude. You need to figure something out because you're out of money. We're out of money. Something's got to be done here. And apparently the homeowner ended up being friends with the person who fucking owns the lift company and was just like embarrassed by this shit. So he told the builder like, I don't want him back. Dude basically kind of just fucking blamed us for all of it. And now for the last like week, we were trying to figure out what the fuck we're gonna do now. Which we figured it all out now, but it's like, god damn, dude.
Yeah, dude,
You
that's why
really gotta fucking know who
I'm
you're working
really
for.
on payments and stuff. By the time I'm done with a job, they owe me maybe $1,000. Like
I know, and that's
I don't
like,
care how much it is, and it is the way it is. And it's just like it's a little bit because like I got a deposit, and then I was over there like a day or two later, started work. We started, and boom, progress payment. So it's like every few days,
yeah.
but they either have the money or they don't, man. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
And
And I'm still
the
owed
guy
right now
did.
like another fucking 3 or 4 grand or something. You know what I mean? So
Right. The guy knew what the budget was, but he never followed it. He had
of course,
some grand vision of what he was gonna do, and I don't know. It's like I don't run the business part, but it's like I'm watching all this stuff going on, and it's like I start to realize sometimes it's like maybe I'm not a full blown businessman, but I feel like I have the intuition of one when it
Yeah,
counts.
but
But
the thing is like, you know, some people have a knack for it like everything else, but business, anybody can learn business, unfortunately.
yeah,
Or not, or I should say
and
fortunately. And I'll
well, I
tell you
watched.
this, your best friend from Florida, Brad from Home Love Construction, your favorite guy, everybody loves him. I will give him only one thing, and that's why he will actually beat a lot of people that talk shit about him. I will tell you this. He's really good at fucking business.
Yeah.
And his military background and going to West Point, I think, really taught him logistics. And that's the thing is if you he's very good at networking and he's very good at the business side. So there's two people that are successful in here. Each has to be a good businessman, but you know, you either start on the tools and you go from there, or you're a good business guy and you got the right connections with subs and stuff, and you're able to
Yeah.
staff and you're able to run a high end business and you kill it that way. So, but the great thing is anybody can learn business. But that's what I tell people is like, as you grow older, unfortunately, your business savvy is going to outwork your skill on the hammers because and it's a little bit different now. We're in a different labor market. There's not a lot of people who like know how to do shit. But what I've
Hmm.
found is these clients are willing to wait because they know the labor shortage is so much. So we at least have that on our side too. So like we can wait for the right person to get in there and like finish it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's way easier
Yeah.
for me to get the money and get everybody paid when the right person's in there, like getting it done, even if they're better than me. Like, you know, I used
Hmm.
to have a huge ego, like nobody's better than me. But like now I have like kind of a foreman and another sub. And dude, there'll be stuff where I'm like, you know what? I know this guy's gonna bang this out better than I will. I'm just gonna call him. And then like, you know,
Yeah.
I just let that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's like a cool thing that's happened with like having this Instagram too. It's like it's helped me meet more people. It's helped me kind of like work on my own confidence level with what I do because it's like I'll talk to you about this. I'll talk to all kinds of people about it
Yeah.
on there and they all kind of say the same thing like you just got to go for it. And it's like I notice with my father-in-law a lot of the time it's like he's an amazing journeyman carpenter. He's been doing this shit for 40 years. He did it in England before he came here and started doing he was doing roofs when he was 13. But what I noticed a lot of the time is like just because you're a great tradesman doesn't mean that you're going to be great at the business part, especially when you're doing all of the work. It's like a lot of stuff ends up being overlooked and you end up kind of like, you end up tripping over your own feet in a way. So it's like, I don't know, I can kind of like, I use these kind of moments to like jot them down in my head and remember them for the future because it's looking more and more like, I mean, eventually when he's gone, I will probably be doing this. But I think maybe even before that, it's like even if it's something that I'm taking on work on the side, stuff like that, it's like it's becoming more and more apparent that like just working for somebody isn't gonna it's
Yeah, so
not
I mean
gonna work.
that's a good segue and everything. I know you've got a kid on the way and everything. So what's the future look like? Like, is there licensing in Ohio like there is here in California, or you have are you like because there's a lot of states like you don't need a license to do roofing. You like in Texas, nobody has a fucking license in
In
Texas.
order to
You know?
be like a builder, I do believe you need your contractor's license. And I also believe it depends on where you're building. Like in the city of Toledo, yes. But in between Toledo and the next city is fucking hundreds and hundreds of miles of fucking cornfields and nothingness that's just not really developed yet. But to answer your question, I think like more and more I feel like I can't just really like be a framer, I guess, for the rest of my life. Like
Hmm.
and that's not to say I won't do framing, but it's like what I'm trying to
You might
figure
have a
out is like,
framing business, or you might be
yeah,
framing up developments or something. But I know what you mean.
yes, exactly.
You can't be on the bags your entire entire life and
Right.
only making money when you're
And
swinging hammers. Yeah.
I just like right now, I think my big dream for all of this is that like I learn everything I can doing what I'm doing right now, and I take every single dollar that I make off social media and every relationship that I make from social media, and I have to take that and I need to figure out a way to get some type of investment of some sort. I need to go to a bank. I need to do whatever I can. And I want to fucking build my own spec homes or build my own fucking neighborhood or build my own investment properties or whatever. Cause it's like at first, we know how to do everything. It's like if I had the money and I had the land, I have somebody fucking pour me a foundation and I fucking stand a house on it and I do all the work in it and then I sell it or I Airbnb it or I build a triplex or a duplex. And there's a guy that lives down the road from me and I fucking drive by it all the time. And it's like with like the kind of flip background and the real estate background, even though it's very minimal, it's like it all kind of coincides and just you just end up thinking that way, I guess. And like this guy took a side lot on the corner down here and he built fucking three houses on it. So he took what was probably a fucking $100,000 purchase, if that, and turned it into almost $1 million, which is a pretty good amount of money right here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I think he's renting them or Airbnbing them because I looked them up on the tax record the other day and they're all owned by the same company. But it's like, that is a fucking great idea. And
Yeah,
if I
so
just had the money, I could just build it.
what's one sec. I'm gonna grab my charger and stuff, but I do want to talk about just the economy out there too when I get back. I just want to ask you like what's the economy and what's the trades demand like out there and everything. But let me grab my
Right.
laptop charger real quick before I run out of
Yeah, for
battery.
sure.
Yeah, so
But
what's
like,
the economy like where you are, and then what's the demand for trades out there? Because like here, everybody's in tech, everybody's in white collar, so the demand is high. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I'd
So what's it like
say,
out there?
I mean, it's hard to like in framing in particular, it's hard because like in my area specifically, it's kind of like the good old boys club where there's a lot of builders around town that have kind of like made their name over the last like 40 years. And what they do because they have the money is that when a plot of land gets cheap, they buy the whole plot of land. So they own a lot of the land around here and then they kind of pick and choose when they decide to build on it. And a lot of them use the Amish, which is a big thing around here. Fucking tons of Amish
That's
carpenters
probably
around
my
here.
biggest competitor is the prefab companies that are the Amish. Now our
Yeah,
styles like different and stuff, so it's like where we compete better. But I
right. With
mean,
like
dude, you can't
ADUs and
compete
stuff.
with their labor prices, you know?
That's same thing here, and a lot like with framing in particular. Like builders are kind of snaky, scummy, like profiteers
Oh
where
yeah.
they don't give a shit if the house is built right. They give a shit that it's done. And Amish people, sometimes they're good. Obviously, I mean, a lot of them do good work, but some of them do terrible work and they don't string walls, they don't plumb walls, they don't
Yep.
care if the concrete's out, they don't give a shit. They throw it up and everyone's like, oh, they threw it up. Hell yeah. Like, I heard that's all I heard for the entire time we were doing that cap. Like, well, the Amish would have threw this up. Like, the Amish would have also asked for a print that was actually what you wanted it to look like and they would have made you pay for all these changes. But, that's neither here nor there. There's not, I wouldn't say like as much of the migrant labor type thing as in some other places, but a lot of it's just straight up Amish. Like it's really hard to compete with 15 Amish guys when you're a three-man crew. So a
Well, that's
lot
what
of
I
it's
mean,
like,
dude. Because like people have them do a job, and dude, they'll show up with 30 dudes or 20 dudes or something like that because they're all
wait,
cousins. They all live on the same spot. They're all
yeah.
helping each other out. You
Well, and they all
know.
come out here from Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Like they
So
don't even
they're
live around here. They
yeah,
come here from Indiana. They take all of our work. They don't pay any taxes or anything, and then they go all the way back out there. And now we're all left like, okay. But then if they
yeah.
fuck anything up, we get to go fix it, which is even worse. And then there's a big union presence here also, which obviously not in residential, but I mean the carpenters union is a big thing here. But like my buddy's in the carpenters union, he does nothing all day but drywall and suspended ceilings. Like that's not my
Yeah,
jam.
yeah.
And
That's
all
what
they
a
really
lot of
have to
union
offer
guys do
here,
out here too, is like office build outs and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Yeah,
And
exactly.
like I've even
You
seen
guys have a
Amish
big
dudes building
corporate, like
apartments.
a corporate office presence there, because like it seems like you did work like that in the past. That's what the
Yeah,
union's doing. So it's a
yeah,
lot of offices. I'm guessing in Toledo, right?
yeah. Like we have Dana here, Owens, Illinois, like Chrysler's here, Jeep. Um, a lot of it's just kind of like there's less automotive manufacturing, but there's a lot of it still. A lot of fucking Toledo is just dilapidated fucking warehouse buildings,
Yeah,
but like it sprawls out from the city center because everything's cornfields around it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And so what you end up having is like not so much in Bowling Green where I live, but like outside of Toledo, like you have Perrysburg, you have like White House, you have Sylvania, and what they've done basically is they just every fucking field is just if it's not a street of grocery stores and shopping, right outside of it or behind it is just 50 cookie cutter neighborhoods. And they've just
yeah.
been building these things for years, and my father-in-law's done all of these like throughout the years, like, oh, I built that one with that guy, I built that one with that guy, so he knows every person in town, and he knows everything that they'll try to do to fuck him out of money too. So a lot of it's like we could go do this work but it's not really worth our time, stuff like that. So I don't know, it's kind of hit or miss. It's like we'll go do like we're about to go do probably a pretty big custom home. That's kind of like a lot of what we do, but there's also been times like last year I spent the entire year in Fort Campbell, Kentucky on the army base building army housing
Okay.
because there wasn't really anything going on here. I went before that I was out in Ashtabula, which is like out past Cleveland, and funny enough, we had to go out there and take over a fucking union frame job because these guys had one wall stood in a week.
Yeah.
And I heard it all about it the whole time about how the Amish will do it faster, the Mexican guys will do it faster, blah 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 blah. No one cares if it's done right. So it's just like, and that's kind of my point to like trying to find a way to kind of do it on our own and not necessarily have to leave the trade, but figure out a way to kind of like get into the game and change it in some way because somebody fucking has to.
Prefabs, dude. That's why I do prefabs, because everybody wants them up like so quick. Like one of those 10 by 12s, the full shell's done in 3 days. Walls stood up,
Yeah,
roof is done, like all that, and like they go up to like full houses. And that's the only way to do it now with like the labor shortage. You can have a small crew and then it goes up faster than an Amish guy will get his up, because it all shows up on a truck and panels. So like while you're doing the foundation, the factory's building it, or you
that's what we
even
did in
outfit it yourself.
Fort Campbell. It was all panelized.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
we stood all the panels and then we had the
And
truss
isn't
packages
that
on
isn't that a
site.
fucking dream, instead of cutting every fucking 2 by 4 and like
It
making sure
wasn't, it
you're
wasn't.
okay.
As long as the panels were done right, because these
Get
panels
correct.
happen to be all fucking out of square and shit. So by the time we put them all together, you're trying to like what we did at the fort is we stood all the walls, which was a dream. But then when you're checking numbers for like, okay, now we got to set a floor on this because we were building the whole floor, picking it up with the crane and just setting it on top. And
Okay,
then we
yeah, yeah,
built
yeah.
another story, and then we built the whole roof and set that on top of that. So it's like when you're framing, if all those panels are out of square and then all of a sudden you pull your numbers and they're fucking an inch wide or a fucking inch short, then now your roof's not going to sit on there right. Everything's all fucking wonky. And we care about shit like that because you want to. It
Yeah.
makes everything
Yeah.
fucking look better in the end. And then I don't care what anyone says when you walk away and you fucking leave that shit fucked. Everyone's going to tell them, everyone that asks, who did it. Oh yeah, those guys fucking did that shit. They're not gonna say like I told them I don't care.
Yeah.
Like we were out there fucking like we had to like cut trusses and shit because they had this all so fucked up and it had sat there for so long waiting for it to be done. It was like a 5 year project for the army, and we were only there for a year. But it's like I don't know. We'll pretty much do whatever if the number is right. Like we're not like married to any idea of like the only thing we don't really fuck around with is kind of like tract homes because or like piecework and shit like that because we can't compete with the Amish.
Yeah.
We
And
can't
that's
compete
who's
with their
building
labor rate.
track housing out there then is the Amish.
Yeah, like you see, like they're all kind of like one story ranch style. There would be like fucking 50 of them on one tract of
There's only
land.
three different floor plans or whatever.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And that's a lot of what goes up around here right now because, like everywhere else, housing is at its fucking peak right now. So, like, I want to say, like, pre COVID, a fucking 3 bedroom, 2 bath was probably in a decent area. You're probably looking at 150 grand.
Okay.
It's fucking pretty good. And now, like, I moved the house that I sold in Rossford, I sold for $150,000. Now that same house is 250,
Yeah.
230. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's, and then you're kind of like dealing with the fact of like, what's housing going to do? So people are kind of, they seem kind of wishy washy on that aspect. And I mean, I guess granted, the good thing for all of us is that there's always going to be a housing shortage. There's not enough houses for anyone to fucking buy, but no one can afford to buy them either. So houses are kind of sitting on the market right now too. Everyone's kind of waiting for it to go down. But like, if you have the right contacts, I would say you're good. And like in my father-in-law's case, like he's been doing this so long, like random people will call him from all over that he's known for forever. New people, like we did that barn dominium, and there happened to be a guy that was driving by there every day watching it happen. Now we're about to build a house for him next door.
Yeah.
So it works out that way too, because some people do care, especially when it comes to like the one-off custom homes. Like they do want it to be done right, and if you can get straight to the source and not have to like go through a contractor, like some of these builders are just shitty and they don't care what they give you; they just care that they make money. And then you're kind of good. I would say like if you're new to framing around here, I don't know. Like if you're just
Yeah,
trying to
so
go
that's the
out
other thing.
and
Like what let's say, I don't know, young guy wants to get into this or whatever. Yeah, what's your advice to the young guys?
I would say like I mean if you're trying to find a job in framing, I mean you got to really put your feelers out. Like you got to really start like I mean you could go on Indeed, you could go on Facebook, find like you got to find as many people as you can that are looking for guys. Like there's Frame the World and shit like that. Like you can get on groups and find people and all over the country that are doing framing and are looking for people. But a lot of the guys are kind of like it seems like they've been almost strong armed into like 1 2 man crews because the numbers aren't good enough to like put the time into anyone. It doesn't seem like so like a lot of the old timers seem like they expect a lot more than they're actually going to get. Plus the fact of like they all want to pay like $20 an hour, shit like that. When it's like a young 18-year-old dude, he's not going to see like, well, I'm going to learn a trade that I can take anywhere and I can do anything with. They're just seeing like, well, fuck, McDonald's pays that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of the problem too. That like, and I don't know if it's only because these guys aren't getting enough to be able to justify paying people more, or they're just fucking cheap and they don't give a shit. Because you know, some dudes are just
I
I
don't know. I
fucking
think
made this much, you
it's a
know.
mix. It truly is a mix, man, because yeah, dude, because the material prices have all gone up. All these suppliers are charging more. All these
Yeah.
developers and stuff are charging more for the homes. But what contractor, like they might be making more money than they did 5 years ago compared to inflation, right? But with
Hmm.
the amount of inflation and everything, like nobody's making any more money. right? Like
Right.
the revenues might, and that's the biggest thing right now. You hear everybody online talk about revenues, revenues, revenues. Why? Because they don't make any fucking money. Because by
Right.
the end of it, they just pay their bills, they just get by, and when they're done with the project, they got 200 bucks left over.
Right. No
You
one's
know?
ever talking about profit
Nobody ever
because
talks
they're
about profit. Everybody
because there's
talks
not
about
much.
revenue. It's like, let me
Yeah.
actually see your profit margins. Let me actually see like, and I know because I'm a builder, dude. I'm not stupid. I know where I make my most money and I know where it's barely working. And that's kind of like where these prefab sheds are going for me. I make so much money in the HVAC side of things. It's getting really stupid for me to be doing these sheds anymore. Like that used to
I
be
think
my money maker, but now in a day I make what I
like
make on one of those
you could just
sheds.
make an entire schedule of just going and installing mini splits or something like that.
So pretty much if I installed one mini split a week for an entire year, I would replace all the income that I make from doing 25 prefab offices.
That's crazy.
So it's
And
like
like
that's and
we
I
don't
wouldn't
really
have I
have
wouldn't have to have a crew. I wouldn't have to have workman's comp, insurance, all that
right.
shit, or even subs, right?
And the
Um,
time.
bro, I get one of these installs done in a day at the worst 2 days.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like you do one a week, shit, you get popular enough, you start doing two or three, and now you're doubling and tripling what you made, doing something that takes a lot more effort, that's a lot more communication with the clients, with design. Like I'm doing that one. I don't know if you saw the one with all that crazy form work we're doing. It's like on the side of a hill. It's a pool house, but like that went from just being a regular room, possibly like a kitchenette in there, to now bathrooms in there, now a mini split. It's like
Yeah.
and now we're putting a pad down for a sauna next to it, outdoor shower. Like it grows, and I'm like, it's great and it's all fantastic, and I get to make these like nice videos and have all these picture books and shit and like, be all fancy. But I'm
But when
like,
you do the math,
what's the point, dude? It's like it's just feeding my ego at this point instead of like feeding my bank
yeah.
account. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's like if you're a new guy trying to get into framing, like you got to really think outside the box. Like we went, like I said, we went there, we did the fucking military housing. Like sometimes you got to be willing to travel in this game. Like
Yep.
we we've done like fucking styrofoam houses. Like fucking wall panels that are styrofoam, roof panels that are styrofoam. I have a
Yep.
couple videos on my Instagram of them. Like we've done a couple government building projects that one of them was styrofoam with trusses on top. Like you
Bro,
just kind of got to like,
everybody's just skimming money off of those projects because that styrofoam fucking house probably costs three times what your house costs and it's built like shit. And you're like, dude, where the fuck is all this money going for in
dude,
these government
literally.
projects, dude?
Yeah, that's the whole time we were doing them. I'm like, what the fuck are we building right now? Like, I felt like I needed to wear a fucking like a disguise, like one of those fucking the glasses with the nose the whole time. Like, oh, what the fuck, dude? I don't want anyone to know I ever did this, but it is what it is. It's like everyone's trying to just find a way to make more money. And I think that's a lot of the problem in the game too. It's like there's always the fucking guy at the top that's like almost has nothing to do with it, only gums up the works, but makes the most money off of it.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to framing, because it's the biggest part of the whole project, it's like those are always the people that end up like, well, the people doing the work end up not making any money. The contractor fucking rides away with thousands of fucking dollars, usually by fucking the guys doing the work on a bunch of shit that they didn't plan for. And they just expect you to eat the man hours
Well,
on
what
it.
it is, man, is all those guys trade stability. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what it is. It's like it is this big fear that everybody has. Like you've mentioned it earlier, and I have someone kind of like this, like I have a friend who's better at carpentry than me, but he's just never had the balls to like go out and do
Take the
his own
chance.
business.
Yeah.
And
It's
because
the
of that,
risk.
yeah, and it's because they want to stay stable. They want to make sure they have a paycheck, but in the long run, that does hinder you. Now, again, not everybody can own a business. Not everybody can be a business owner. I've worked for people. I've been a W-2 employee too. Like it
Yeah.
is what it is. But like the way I work it is I go work for me 4 or 5 years. I'll sign off on your license, then get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? So apprentice
Right.
for two, make money on you for about 3 years. And then if you want to go out on your own, that's fine, because you're gonna end up calling me anyways when you get in a fucking pickle, and I'm gonna end up helping you with a job or making money here and there, and like it's just all gonna
Yeah.
come back, you know?
That's kind of like why, like what I was saying before. It's like, I don't think that working for builders and just like the kind of classical way of being a framer will really work for anyone for much longer. But if you know how to frame and you are willing to take a little bit of risk, I mean, you know how to save yourself money by doing the fucking dirty work of being that guy. Like you could fucking go buy a plot of land, you can have somebody fucking pour a foundation, and then you can fucking build a house on it.
Yeah,
As long as you're willing to take the risk and you have the money, I mean, you have the know-how, which is 90% of what it is, and then you can kind of go from there. And that's like what I'm trying to figure out how to do with all of this is like, because I don't really want to just like, I don't really want to leave my family high and dry, I guess, per se, but like finding a way that we all continue to do what we like to do, but we're doing it for us, I guess, is kind of like
yeah,
my big dream. And like as far as like the prefab thing goes, is like you have a lot of ADUs and stuff out there, right? And
yeah.
here it's all like in Ohio, like I've never seen an ADU.
Yeah, no, you guys
It's
are in
like
a different. The thing with
it's
us is
all
like,
pole barns.
yeah, well, we're in like a totally different like density thing. So like, here's what I'll tell you is like, every major city one day will have population density like Manhattan, right? It might take 100, 200 years,
Yeah.
but one day everybody will be like that. In San Francisco, so in the Bay Area, right? So that's everywhere around San Francisco Bay. There's 7 million people. There's 7 million people in Manhattan. Okay. And so San Francisco one day will have 5 to 6 million people in it. Where I'm from, Marin County, there's this place called San Rafael. That is getting its first 17-story apartment building, right? And that used to be
Hmm.
like a suburb that my parents grew up in. And like my dad used to dirt bike like in the hills and stuff, but that is
Yeah.
like completely unheard of now. And now that I believe that right now that um, city has a population about 100 to 150,000, and I have a feeling it's gonna hit 1 million within 15 years
Yeah. And I
because
think like Toledo's definitely getting to that point because like fucking Meta's putting a giant data center literally fucking
see
5 minutes down the road from me here. But the thing about my area is
you guys have so much more
there's
land than us, dude.
exactly.
You have
So
so much more land.
nothing really goes up, it goes out.
Yeah,
So I do see a lot of apartment buildings and shit going up, which is another thing that I was saying like if
your
I have the money,
growth is
I
gonna
can
be more
fucking
like Las Vegas, dude. Las Vegas
yeah.
literally ran out of sellable land. So before, like you said, before you ever go up, you're gonna be spreading out. So yeah,
And that's
like
you
you
just
kind
see
of have to
all these
you have to
fucking
see
better
like where you
neighborhoods.
fit in that like economic zone. And then, like you said, nobody's gonna be building ADUs in your neck of the woods for another 50 years, but until
Yeah.
density becomes a problem, you know?
But a lot of people are trying to do like the new like everyone wants to do the barn dominium thing out here. Everyone
Yeah,
wants to do the pole barn thing. So we've kind of like been trying to get into that niche with like framing up pole barns and or doing the metal work and shit like that. And then it's like all of the money will eventually, I think, like I said, like I'll build a fucking spec house or I'll build an apartment building or whatever. And it's like being able to do that, having the know-how kind of mitigates at least a little bit of the risk because you're not having to pay somebody to do that as well.
yeah,
But that's kind of like the bigger picture. And it's like there's so much fucking land and there's so many people coming here. It's like we have Amazon facilities getting built here all the fucking time. Like, and then they're everywhere. Data center fucking coming into town. Like, and then all of that brings more everything else. So it's like you see it happen and you can kind of see like where it's spreading to. And it's all seeming to go kind of like west of me. So right now it's like it's more of a money thing than a risk thing. So I'm just trying to like I'm trying to save up enough capital to be able to go to someone or a bank and be like, here's what I want to do, here's how much money I have, and try to get the money and just try to make it happen. because working
So
for builders and
you see a future in development and stuff like that. That's where you see
definitely,
yourself going.
yes, definitely. I think that's like, I think anyone who gets into a trade eventually, like you said, it's like you can't, everyone has to get into a trade. They have to do the work for so long, and then you have to start thinking outside the box and either go find your own work. And I don't even think it ends there. I think even once you're doing your own work, eventually it's going to change again. And then you take that money and you parlay that into the next thing and you parlay that into the next thing. It's like if you, and even if like around here, like if you look at like there's big companies around here like Midwest Construction, like the guy, his father was on the tools forever. He took the company from his dad, but now it's like all the guys that build their commercial buildings, he builds the location, but he's out procuring people to move into them. Like
Yep.
he'll build, like he just built a little shopping center down the street from me, but then he's going to all these places and talking to the people at Wingstop and talking to people at fucking Jimmy John's and all this shit. Like, here's the location. What do you think? You know what I mean? So the build to suit thing, it's like there's so many avenues that you can go by understanding construction in the first place that it's like you said, it's like if you're willing to put in the time and you're willing and you have the balls to take the risk, there's a lot of shit to be gained from doing the trades and taking a little bit of risk. You just can't expect to only ever be on the tools and get to that level. Now I'm even coming to that
Yeah.
crossroads myself.
Yeah. Well, having a kid puts it in perspective, huh?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Did I remember I wasn't yeah, I was like scheduled to do the test. My wife was pregnant and I remember I was like dude, I was swapping out this panel in San Jose and it was late as fuck. I'd been working all day. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and I still had the power off in the house. I was like, all right, if I push like another hour, or I just come back tomorrow. And like I remember like thinking, I was like, dude, there's a kid and my wife right now. I gotta push, you know. Like ever since that day, I had this weird flip, and yeah, like never went back after that, you know. Just like it's never enough, or
Yeah,
like
that's
you know,
that's where I'm at right now. I keep like I'll catch myself being like, "Oh, dude, it doesn't." Oh, wait, yeah, it fucking does. Like,
yeah,
fuck,
yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Like, and it's like you think about like in the future. It's like I think about like one day when my daughter's older, and I'm like, I don't ever want to have the conversation of like making excuses for myself. Of like, oh well, this happened to me, and we've all seen it. It's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, it's like, well, if this didn't happen, then I could have done this, and it's like I would rather it be that like she sees me taking the chance, willing to fucking work myself into the dirt just so that it all works out in the end. You know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
just being the guy who only ever went to work, only ever clocked in, but was like willing to make something different happen. You know what I mean? Make something from nothing, I guess, because
Yeah.
that's one she'll see that and be willing to try it herself. It's like the same thing for your daughter. It's like they won't see you out here being a contractor and then be like, well, I should just go be a fucking person with a job like everybody else. It's like it gets passed down. And I feel
Yeah.
like even like I wouldn't think like this if I didn't spend enough time with my grandfather even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's an inherited trait for sure. And it's like even if I am kind of risk adverse, it's like even having the like being cognizant of the fact that that won't work. Like some people don't even have that.
Yeah. All right,
And
dude. Well, I think we're
that's
gonna wrap up. I mean, this was a great talk and everything. The one thing I do want to ask, and I'm sure you want to plug too. So, what's up with your Frogtown Framers? So, is that gonna be your company name in the future, or is that just gonna be a clothing line? What's your whole thing with
I
that?
mean,
What's your
I
goal with
would like it to be my company name thing, but I think it's kind of like right now it's kind of like I look at it as kind of like a crew that everybody can like be a part of, I guess. It's
it?
like if you're a carpenter, if you work in construction and like just it's kind of like a representation of like the carpenter trade community that exists on Instagram, because it's like we all kind of have like the same goal here. It's like we're all trying to like be framers or be carpenters and not watch the trade die, but we don't all get to work on the same crew or represent the same thing. So I just kind of like came up with the design one day in my head. It's a tattoo that I have that's like I got for my grandfather from a story that he used to tell me. And I always just thought like, man, that
Okay.
might look cool on a t-shirt. So I have the frog with the hammer as a tattoo, but I thought that one day like, oh, Frogtown Framers, that kind of has a good ring to it because Toledo's Frogtown. But I
I
thought
was
it
gonna
had a good
ask
ring
where
to
the
it.
name comes from, or was that just like, hey, Chat GBT, give me a good name?
No, no, it's Toledo is Frogtown
Okay.
specifically, but it just had a good ring to it. And then when I made the design, I was like, damn, that's kind of cool. I just threw it out there, like thinking no one's probably gonna ever buy one. And
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't sold fucking hundreds of them, but I've sold like I think there's like 50 something orders so far, which at the level
Damn,
that
bro,
I'm
that's
at,
a good amount.
I'm fucking happy with it. So I've been like working on trying to like come up with new designs, and eventually like when there's more money in the pot, I'll start like reaching out to like tattoo artists and shit like that, trying to get some like better designs made. And I've been like working on like doing giveaways and sending them out to the bigger guys on Instagram and stuff like that. And some of them have just bought them without me even saying anything. So it's like it's cool to even see that people I don't know if they just like it or if they like me, but either way, it's like I want I wanted it to be something that everyone can use to kind of like be part of the same crew, because that's the cool thing in construction. It's like if you get to work on a good crew of guys, it's like it's almost like a brotherhood.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't work with you in California, and I can't work with Jared out in Colorado, and I can't work with fucking Bubs and Brandon down in Kentucky, but it's like we can all rep the same shit. And it's like we're all part of a bigger movement in that way, I guess. And just the whole Instagram thing as a whole, it's like sure it's just posting cool little videos on the internet, but I really do believe that it's like it's responsible for or will be responsible for an uptick in the trades, because people see that we love what we do and we're not just out here fucking bitching and complaining all day and blaming blaming our work for our terrible lives, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I do try to be very honest on what it is, though. I mean, half the time I hate my fucking life sometimes, you know what I mean? It just is what it is when you're under a
But
house and shit. But it's all
you would hate your life so
temporary.
much more if you were sitting in that fucking office doing that
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
life
I
insurance.
agree. I agree.
And that's
Yeah.
what I mean. It's
Well,
like
I don't
you're gonna
know if I was doing, dude. I don't know. If I was doing life insurance and I sold pretty well, I'd have a
yeah, I
pretty
mean,
good
I
life
guess maybe.
sitting on my ass. Yeah, but yeah,
But
it's
at the end of
different,
the
man.
day,
It's just different life, and again, everything happens for a reason. And
you have to have some form of fulfillment, you
even
know?
here's the thing, even if I made a bunch of money in life insurance, I know I'd have a garage with a full-on wood shop, and I'd still be doing this anyways.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And then
It
who
is a
knows? Maybe I would have
lifestyle in a
gotten into
way.
real estate or development anyways, or whatever. Like I come from a trades family, so I can't
And
escape it.
that's kind of what it is. It's like it's just one of those things where it's like it's an overall representation of how it's like it's in your blood whether you want it to be or not.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
You have to be a
100%.
certain type of person to do this. And even if you don't do it, you will find it or it will find you, because
Yeah,
it
yeah.
found me for sure. You could try to run from it, but you can't.
All right, dude. Well, great talking to you, man. And I'll probably upload this tonight and everything. I'll let you know when it's on. Is there anything you want to plug besides your Instagram, Ohio Carpenter, or anything like that?
No, I mean, you can follow me, follow Wyatt, follow Colt Nailed It, follow Western Tradesman, buy something on Frogtown. That's about it.
Coolio, dude. All right, bro. I'll talk to you later. Good interview.
All right, thanks, bro. Good talking to
Good
you.
luck with